and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a bit of a different video, but I just wanted to sit down and kind of casually talk with you guys all about my freshman year of college. And so I'm going to be sharing some memories that I made and also telling you guys what I learned and some advice that I have and all that sort of stuff, because if you're watching this video, you probably are going to college within the next year or so, and you're probably just really curious as to what college is like. And I know this time last summer I was watching a ton of college related videos just because I wanted to know what I was getting myself into. So I hope that hearing my freshman year story will be helpful to you guys, and hopefully you can learn something from it. Alright, so let's start off with the basics. If you are new to my channel, which if you're new you should subscribe so you can watch all my other college videos, but if you're new you probably don't know that I go to Belmont University, which is in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a small private Christian school with about 8,000 students. And like I mentioned before, and as the title of this video suggests, I just finished my freshman year, so I have completed 1 year and I have 3 left to go. I started the school year with a major in entrepreneurship, and I added a double major in marketing. So I am now double majoring in entrepreneurship and marketing, and I am also a member of the honors program at my school. So my curriculum is a little bit different than all of the other students, but it basically just means that I take like these extra kind of higher level classes rather than taking general education classes. So I will get into classes later on, but I just wanted to mention that for reference. Alright, so I'm kind of just going to scroll through my phone here and go through all the pictures that I've taken, honestly, which might sound silly, but I just want to go through so I can like visually remember all of these things, and that way I won't forget to leave anything out. Alright, so let's start with move-in day. That was so stressful. Oh my goodness, guys. Like, no matter what you do, moving into a dorm room is going to be super stressful. I know that my roommate and I spent like 2 or 3 hours just trying to arrange the furniture the way we liked it, and then it took us like 2 days on top of that to finally get it set up how we liked it. It was just very stressful. But once we did get everything set up, we really loved how it turned out, and if you haven't seen my dorm room tour, I will put a link to that in the description box down below. But it's really important, in my opinion, to make your dorm room as homey as possible, because you're going to be spending a lot of time in there. Not a lot, I mean, it kind of depends. If you want to spend time in there, you can, but you're going to be sleeping in there, so you might as well like make it a little comfy. So if you haven't seen my like dorm room decorations video, I will put a link to that down below as well, because I talk all about how I think you can make your dorm room super homey and more comfortable than an ugly dorm room. Alright, so at my school, after move-in day, we had about a week or so of like orientation, which was for all the new freshman students and like transfer students. So at my school, you each get divided up into a group, and those groups are like 10 to 15 people, I think. And in my case, I got really close with most of the kids in my group. They call it Towering Traditions at Belmont. It's different everywhere, but my orientation group, we all got really close, and we had a leader who was a junior this year, and so she was kind of like our little guide. She would show us around the school and like tell us what we needed to know for our classes and all that sort of stuff. And so that was super helpful going in with that group of kids that I already knew, and because they were all honors kids, I knew that I would have classes with them, because I will mention that I went to a school where I knew absolutely no one, and so that was very terrifying. But I did have my roommate who I was friends with, and then again I also had my orientation group, which made it a lot easier. Going along with that, it seems super scary making friends the first like week or 2 or 3 or even like the first month or so, because you're just like warming up to everyone and it's like such a new atmosphere. It's just a weird feeling, but I would recommend trying to meet as many new people as possible. Don't be afraid to go and introduce yourself to people, because everyone's in the same boat as you and no one really knows anyone. So go and knock on the door of the girls on your hall and try and introduce yourself to them and say hi, and you know, there you go, you got some friends already. Going along with that, you can also introduce yourself to people in your classes. Try and talk to the people who sit around you so you can make friends by doing that. Alright, as for being homesick, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it was really hard for me to leave. All summer building up to it, I really wasn't feeling all that. I mean, I was scared, don't get me wrong, I was super scared, but I wasn't feeling like super emotional or anything like that. And then like the day before I left, I just broke down. I got so emotional. I didn't want to leave my dogs, I didn't want to leave my family, and at this point all of my other friends had already started school, and so I was all by myself here, and I was just terrified. I did not want to go, and it was really, really scary. I will say that that homesick feeling definitely wore off once I got to school though, because I was so busy. I got super involved, which I'll talk about later, and so I really didn't have time to miss home all that much. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone gets homesick a little bit, but the feeling definitely for the most part went away because I was just super busy with other things. Alright, as for classes, I'm gonna be honest, the classes that I have for the honors program at Belmont are super difficult, and I will say that I was terrified about those. I can remember the first day of class, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go here. I have so many books. I don't think I can survive this. I obviously survived. I'm okay now. But it was really scary and overwhelming going to all these new classes. For the most part though, all the teachers are really understanding and know that you're new, you're a freshman, you're just a baby, you don't know what you're doing, and so they'll be a little bit more lenient. And something else that's helpful is your teachers, for the most part, will all give you a syllabus, which basically like explains the whole semester, and it's gonna like give you a day-by-day guide of like your homework and your reading and all that sort of stuff, which definitely makes it helpful for someone like me who likes to organize a lot. So my classes my first semester, I had 2 honors classes, which were both kind of like history based, and then I had a statistics class which I had to take for my business major. I had a business like freshman class that all freshman business majors have to take, and then I took a walking class. And something that actually happened freshman year, now that I'm remembering it, I was in another honors class and I ended up dropping out of it because the first few weeks of school I felt so overwhelmed and I didn't think I was going to be able to handle all of these classes, and so I ended up taking like a sociology class, which now that I'm looking back on it was kind of a waste of my time because I don't even have to take sociology being in the honors program, but that's okay. It's just what happened in the moment. So my classes first semester really were not that difficult because some of them were like sociology or this freshman business class, which weren't that hard. But then moving on to second semester, my classes were a lot harder. I also had 2 honors classes. I had a math one and a history one, and then I had to take accounting, which was no fun. And I also had to take microeconomics. So it is fun getting to get more into the business classes that I'm taking because they actually have to do with my major, whereas like history, math, well I guess math is business, but history, science, all that sort of stuff doesn't have to do with business, so those kind of bore me a little more, but getting to take business courses has been exciting. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is recruitment, and both my roommate and I went through recruitment together, and so did obviously a lot of other girls at my school, and I think that is a great way to get to know people. I know I kind of already talked about the friends aspect earlier on, but I'm looking through my pictures and I got to like bid day pictures, which was such a fun experience. But my advice to you is, even if you don't want to join a sorority, I would totally recommend going through recruitment because you will get to meet so many people, and I'm pretty sure at most schools you get divided up into groups with leaders who like help you throughout the week or weekend or however long it is, and that was super helpful because you get to meet those girls in that group and you may or may not get close with them, and it's just a really awesome way to make new friends, especially if you do join a sorority, which I did. If you haven't watched my other college-related videos, you wouldn't know, but I did join a sorority, and I've loved it so much, and I've just gotten to know the best people and have just done so many fun things, and it's been probably my favorite part of my college experience so far. So if your school offers recruitment or fraternities, sororities, Greek life, anything at all, I would totally recommend doing that because it's a really awesome way to make super close friends and get involved in something amazing. Something else that's very apparent about college is the social aspect of it, and there are obviously tons and tons of things to do socially in college. Because I go to a small private Christian school, there really aren't that many parties, and so I literally like didn't party or go out at all, which is totally fine because that's not really what I like to do, but I did always have tons of fun stuff going on with my sorority sisters or my friends, and we would go to so many concerts. Being in Nashville, there are always concerts to go to, and so there's just always something fun going on, so you're never really bored because someone's going here, they're going to get milkshakes or going to a free concert or something like that, and so there was always something to do. The hardest thing that I went through my freshman year was something that actually happened at home with my dad, and he had something really serious happen with his heart, and he was very close to passing away, and it was a very tragic experience to say the least, but that was a very stressful experience for me. Like, I'm sure, like, my dad, like obviously he was the one dying, but for me it was so stressful because I had to drive back down to Birmingham and see if he was okay, and then that same weekend I actually had my big little reveal, and so there's just a lot going on with that, and so there's always this feeling that like you're missing out on something at home, and that's what was so hard for me, is like knowing that my dad's in the hospital but having to drive all the way back up to Nashville and be away from my family. It's kind of a hard balance, and knowing that you're missing out on a lot that your family's doing, it's just weird. Sometimes I would FaceTime my family and just want them to like leave the phone sitting somewhere so I could watch what's going on in the house, because you miss seeing what your dogs do and what your brother does and what your family's eating for dinner just because you don't get to see them ever. Because being in college is so different than living at home. You have to learn how to basically survive on your own, and like that sounds so dramatic, but if you're hungry you have to get up and go to the cafeteria and get food. If your sheets are really dirty, you have to go wash them. If all your clothes smell bad, you need to do laundry. And so there's definitely a sense of responsibility when you get to college, and for me, I'm a pretty independent person, so I didn't really have many struggles with this. Like, I'm already pretty independent, so I kind of just kept that up. But there's definitely a sense of like responsibility. I already said that, but there really is, because you are fending for yourself. Your mom and dad aren't there anymore to take care of you. You got to do it all on your own. Speaking of responsibility, I was just scrolling through my pictures and see this picture of a giant bug that made its way into my room somehow, and I had to be brave and kill it by myself, but I'm very proud of myself for doing that. Something else that I kind of struggled with freshman year was the fact that I was always surrounded by people, because I'm a pretty introverted person, and so I need quiet time and alone time, and when you're in college you really don't ever get that, because you have a roommate, and don't get me wrong, I love my roommate, but there's always someone there in the room. There's always people down the hall making noise, or people in the library studying. Like, you're just never by yourself, and sometimes that was really hard for me, so I would just get in the car and like drive to the store, and it would be the best feeling ever just to be by myself for a little bit. Alright, let's talk about food. So the first couple weeks of school I was like, oh my gosh, I love our cafeteria so much. It's the greatest thing ever. They have pretty much every option you could need. And then by the last month of school I was literally eating Lucky Charms for every meal of the day. Luckily I have a pretty high metabolism, so I did not really gain the freshman 15. It all, knock on wood, because I don't want to gain that over the summer, because that would be terrible. But yeah, you will definitely get sick of the food that your cafeteria has to offer, because it just doesn't taste like home cooked meals. It's not healthy most of the time, or if it is healthy, it's not good, and the options just seem to be the same every day. So I had a lot of snacks in my room, and would often just eat like goldfish and a Pop-Tart for dinner if I didn't feel like going to the cafeteria. Which, it happens, it's college, whatever. Alright, going along with food, I didn't really talk any about exercising, but that's because it didn't really happen all that often. Definitely not as much as it should have. My dog just came in here, that's what that random noise was, if you were wondering. So first semester I was in this kind of stupid walking class, but I would walk like twice a week, like for a few miles, and so that was a lot of fun, and that gave me some exercise, which was good. But other than that, I didn't really exercise at all, and so going into second semester I really didn't exercise at all. I would do it like maybe once every other week, which is so bad, and so this summer I'm gonna try and be exercising a lot more, but it's just hard in college because at least the gym at Belmont was super tiny, and I never wanted to work out there because you would just see a lot of people, and I didn't like that. Alright, so I was just scrolling through and found a video that I'm not gonna play it. I feel like I should, but I'm not going to. So it has to do with noise in the dorms, and that is definitely something you're gonna deal with. Especially going to a school like Belmont, which is very musical. There are lots of loud people. People who are just loud because they talk loud, people who are loud because they sing loud, or people who are loud because they play their instruments very loudly. And of course I had a few people like this on my hall, which was always kind of difficult, and I go to bed pretty early, so I need my quiet time. I need people to be quiet by like 10, 11, like no one should be screaming, but sometimes people would be screaming, which would be very frustrating. But it's college, and people are going to be obnoxious sometimes, and you just kind of have to get used to that, and so I wouldn't always get as much sleep as I wanted to, but I survived. Another category I didn't really think about would be sports, and Belmont doesn't have a football team, unfortunately, because I love football, and yeah, I never got to watch any college football games this past year, but that's okay because Belmont has a basketball team, and so it was always fun getting to go to basketball games and trying to be school spirited and wearing red and blue and supporting the team. I would definitely recommend going to all of your school sporting events. Maybe not all of them. Only go to the fun ones, because you don't want to go to like a golf tournament or something. Like, sorry to golf players, but that would just be kind of boring. Because that's another great way to meet people, and you can get more involved with your school and be supportive of their teams. Oh yeah, talking about involvement. So I got involved in quite a few different things. Like I said, I'm a member of the honors program, so that took up a lot of time, just having those extra classes. And then also being a member of Greek life takes up the most time, but in a good way, because it was so much fun. I also joined a business team called Enactus, which we would meet like every other week, so that didn't take up too much of my time, but that was a really fun way to get involved. And then I joined SGA second semester, and that was also like a once a week sort of meeting. And so I really liked getting involved because I was always busy, I always had something to do, and I also got to meet a lot of new people. Alright, so I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I think that I've hit pretty much all the major topics. If you guys have any additional questions that I didn't talk about, feel free to comment those down below, and I will try my best to respond to all of them. Kind of the last thing I have to talk about is moving out, which just happened like a few weeks ago. So yes, I am home for the summer now. I'm not in my room right now, I'm in our guest room. That's because my room is a mess because unpacking is super hard and it's really weird coming home because you just have like all your stuff from your dorm room and all your stuff from your normal room, and it's just weird how they all mix together. So moving out was really sad. It was just kind of a weird feeling because our dorm was just so ugly once we removed everything from it. And wow, fitting all of my stuff in the car on the way back home. Like, I had my dad's truck and my car and it hardly all fit. It was crazy. So now I'm at the point in my life where I need to get all my stuff together and finally unpack everything because I have been avoiding that for the past couple weeks and I really need to get on to that now. Alright, so that was it for my college reflection video. I really hope you guys liked it. I'm sorry it was so long. I think I've been talking for like 20 minutes now, but I had a lot to say and I hope you guys enjoyed getting to hear it all. Comment down below any requests you have for other college related videos because I definitely want to keep making them in the future. And yeah, be sure to subscribe if you're new and like this video if you enjoyed. And that's all. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!